Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
Welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Jacob DeGate, and now joining us on the set, First Lieutenant Blake Tabor from the Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office. Thank you very much for joining us, Blake.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
All right. Sheriff's Office, always busy, unfortunately, but you do have a couple of arrests to announce. Can we first start off with the first one in case involving some child pornography arrest?
Sure. So this case began in early June of this year. It began with a cyber tip that was reported to our detectives within the Special Victims Unit, and that, of course, was culminated and developed by the Louisiana Attorney General's Office Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, which is also known as the ICAC Task Force. So people will often ask, what is a cyber tip? Mm-hmm. So basically, it's a digital information packet, which will contain typically some digital evidence in the form of pictures or videos, things of that nature, and also information contained which leads detectives to an IP address or a location of that suspected computer or device. So again, that sort of happened in this particular case as well. Our detectives, as they always do in the Special Victims Unit, did a thorough investigation. Ultimately, a bunch of search warrants culminated in some information related to videos that were of sexually motivated crimes, obviously involving some children, some very disturbing videos, if I may say so. And ultimately that led to the discovery of evidence linking that particular video to a device located in Terrebonne Parish. So again, some further investigation sort of took place with search warrants, and ultimately they found out that this information was linked to a Stephen James Parker. You see him photographed here. He is a resident in Terrebonne Parish. So once that information was confirmed on July 22nd, our detectives located Stephen James Parker in the 100 block of Neron Street, and he was brought in for questioning. So, of course, during that interview, Parker did admit to sending a video, mm-hmm. though he would not admit to having any knowledge of what the video was. Of course, that is a common response in these types of cases that our detectives see. So ultimately, he was arrested and jailed at the Terrebonne Parish Criminal Justice Complex for charges of pornography involving juveniles. And at the time of this release, he had remained jailed on a $5,000 bond.
Okay. And can we tell, let's see, we also have another case that we want to get to as well, I believe an attempted murder. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this is a very interesting case. So this kind of came to light on July 9th, around 6 a.m. in the morning when it was reported to us. We learned of a shooting incident on Patrick Drive in Schriever, and that incident was reported by the victim. So ultimately, that victim was leaving his residence at about 6 a.m. to head off to work when he was ambushed by an armed gunman who began firing at him. Luckily for this particular victim, he was armed as well. He returned fire. Neither the suspect nor the victim were struck with any bullets. So, if there's a silver lining in that case, then this is it. But ultimately, the victim was able to identify the suspect as a Keith David Joseph, and you'll see him photographed here momentarily. Ultimately, when they began to delve into this case, they learned that the victim as well as the family had been victimized or believed to have been victimized by Keith David Joseph over the last several months, which ultimately led to a protective order being obtained by the victim for him and his family. Ultimately, our deputies saturated the area in an attempt to locate Mr. Joseph on the morning in question, which was not successful. Again, as we always do, we began combing the area for additional evidence, found some video surveillance footage which linked Joseph to a specific vehicle. And again, we began looking for that particular vehicle. Several days later, we were contacted by a jurisdiction in the Houston, Texas area, letting us know that Mr. Joseph was incarcerated on the warrants and arrested It's unknown to us exactly what transpired leading to his arrest in Houston, but he was in fact under arrest. So again, we completed the extradition process. He was brought back to Terrebonne Parish on the 22nd of July to face charges, and he still remains jailed at our complex on a $200,500 bond by local judges.
All righty. Well, that's good for the victims, to have that, have him behind bars for now, at least hopefully that'll alleviate some of the worry that I'm sure they have been going through over the past couple months.
Absolutely.
Now, next, I believe we're going to ask for the public's help in locating some identified or identifying some individuals. Can you tell us what this all takes place about?
Absolutely. So, on July 18th, shortly after 8 p.m., we were called to the 100 block of Marie Drive when neighbors noticed an abandoned residence on that block where they had smoke coming from the rafters and also the siding of that structure. Of course, anytime we have that type of complaint, we immediately respond. When our deputies arrived, they did notice the smoke coming from the rafters and also from the siding. Immediately, the Bayou Fire Department was already en route, thank God, and also were able to extinguish that fire. So once they were inside and the fire was extinguished, they did locate several points of origin where they strongly believe the fire was set intentionally. So again, detectives were called in from our violent crimes unit, and they began doing what they do best. Ultimately, they located some video surveillance footage in the form of this video that you see here, along with some still photographs that we have provided. And so, at this point, our detectives are continuing to investigate the matter, but we're trying to reach out to the public to see if anyone may recognize these two individuals. As a matter of fact, you see him carrying what appears to be a gas can in that particular video. So anyone that is may have some knowledge of who the person or persons responsible, we ask that you contact the Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office at 95-876-2500, or you obviously can contact the Bayou Crime Stoppers Bayou region and provide all that information to them anonymously. It's important to note.
Well, we thank you very much, Lieutenant, for coming on, and we thank the public for taking the time to hopefully look at that, and hopefully it'll lead to an arrest.
Absolutely.
All righty. We'll need to take another quick break, but stay tuned.
From the moment you walk into the showroom floor at Trapp Cadillac, you understand our commitment to providing a truly exceptional experience for all returning and new customers.
Our goal is to make sure you're always comfortable while understanding the entire process of getting into your new Trapp Cadillac.
When you drive a Trapp Cadillac, you know performance, bold styling, and our assured commitment to service.
One thing you can always count on here at Trapp Cadillac is our excellent service experience.